Hello, everyone. My name is Anthony. I'm a fourth year cell molecular developmental biology major, and I'm a current HPAC ambassador. And so what I'm going to talk to you guys about in this video is how to get involved in research. So a lot of pre-med students often know that they have to get involved in clinical, they have to shadow a doctor, and they have to get involved in that hospital experience. But what they don't realize is that a lot of medical schools often expect or sometimes even require having some kind of research background. And the reason being, this isn't supposed to be like a little bit of a checkbox for you guys to check off your list and say, oop, I did my research, right? It's supposed to teach you something. You're supposed to gain some kind of soft or hard skill from this experience to take to you into medicine. And so oftentimes what they're expecting you to learn or what you're supposed to gain, the purpose of trying to do some research is that you're supposed to gain some kind of critical thinking, right? Are you able to problem solve? Are you able to come up with creative solutions? For example, if you have an experiment and your experiment failed or it's not running the way it's supposed to, or you're not getting your expected results, is it something you did in experimental design? What are the reasons? What possible things can I change? What are the possible solutions once I figured out what went wrong? And that all translates very, very closely into medicine, right? If you have a patient coming in and you have to look at the patient, understand their symptoms, try to understand what goes wrong, and if you can figure out what went wrong, what are those possible treatment options? What are those treatment plans? So there's a reason that you're supposed to do research. It's really important to teach you those kinds of skills, both critical thinking, as well as hard technical skills, knowing the basics of science and how to question and the scientific method and all of that. So now you may be wondering how to get involved in research. And lucky for you, UCR is a research intensive university, meaning there's a large focus and a lot of people on campus are doing research. And so how I recommend you go about finding the right faculty and the right lab for you is you go and do the old fashioned method, meaning you go to departmental websites and you start reading all of the faculty bios. And so one by one, you'd go to biochemistry, molecular biology, evolution, and you'd start reading all of the faculty bios and start looking for something that interests you. And this is really important when looking for a lab as you find some kind of research subject that you find interesting. And this doesn't have to be science-based either. Even though you might be wanting to go to medical school, you're going into learning something that would take away big questions, big ideas, that problem solving, critical thinking, and all of that can be done in any type of research. So it doesn't necessarily need to be done in the sciences. So if you want to do some kind of research in psychology or econ that can teach you those big ideas, go for it. And so what you're doing is that you're going through and you're finding some kind of research topic that you're interested in. For example, I found a research topic that I was interested in when going through a molecular biology website. And I found that a professor was doing research in infectious diseases, specifically malaria. And I went, viruses, parasites, all of that is super cool. It's something I wanted to continue researching. It's something I wanted to learn more about. And so I decided to join her lab. So once you find a faculty researcher that you're really interested in working with, you really like the topic that they're researching, and you want to pursue this field even more, next comes the step of contacting them. And how I suggest you go about doing that is it's okay to send a cold email. A lot of people are really uncomfortable with the idea of cold emails, thinking they might not get a response, but there's a correct way to go about them. And so the first thing I want to make clear is that you should not be sending a generalized email to a bunch of different people. Professors can tell when you're sending a blast email to 20 different people and it's not going to work. How you should go about sending a cold email is trying to make it as personalized as possible. And so what that means is there are certain things you should include in that email to try and get a response and increase your probability that they'll take you into the lab. So the first thing you should add is any previous experience you might have, whether that be in an actual lab, or maybe it was in introductory chemistry lab or introductory biology lab. All of that is experience, and you should mention some of the skills you gained from those experiences. The second thing that you should add that I think really puts icing on the cake, makes you stand out as someone who is going above and beyond, is to mention some of the literature that they've recently published. So the fact that you're going and reading primary literature on this faculty, the projects they're currently working on, trying to learn about the actual science, makes you stand out more than anyone else. I think this is a really important aspect to include in your email and to really make yourself look like you are passionate. Show that passion to the professor and they'll be much, much more willing to let you into the lab. And the last thing that you should include is you should try and meet with them in person. I know this is a little more difficult during the pandemic, but if we are open in the fall or this is later on in the year and you're thinking about meeting up with this professor, I think it's really important to include some kind of line about talking about this in person so you can get to know them, and really gauge to see if they are the right kind of PI and the right kind of person you want to be working with in the future. And with that, I just wanted to let you guys know if you guys have any more questions about getting involved in research or my own research experiences, feel free to drop into my office hours, or you can email me. Either one works. And you can also go to any of the HPAC office hours. We're here Monday through Friday, almost every day of the week, and we're more than happy to help you guys. Thanks and good luck.